Let's talk about the middle of stories. In fact, let's talk about story structure in general, because it's only by understanding all the parts that we can truly understand the middle. The most typical story structure happens in three parts: beginning, middle, and end. You'll often hear this referred to as the three-act structure. The three-act structure is so universal because it works. And once you start paying attention, you'll notice that a lot of things around us happen in threes. This includes even the stories we tell each other about just what happened in our day. There's usually three parts: the setup, the build-up, and the conclusion or payoff. Beginning, middle, end. Writing beginnings, or Act 1, tends to be the easiest. We start by setting the scene. Where are we? Who's there? What's going on? Endings, or Act 3, are also pretty straightforward. How does everything wrap up? Who wins? Who loses? Writing the middle, or Act 2, is usually a bit trickier. I think mostly because this is the longest part of the story. It's also where most of the important stuff happens. The beginning is there to set up what leads to the middle, and the end is there to explain how everything concludes. But what needs to happen in this all-important middle? There's a lot that could be said about this, but I will break it down into 5 things to keep in mind to write a good middle. 1, make sure the tension continues to rise. If your middle ever feels stagnant, there's just not enough conflict or tension. So ask yourself what other obstacles you can throw in your character's way. 2, the middle is where the subplots happen. Subplots are little stories that happen within the main story. These are often connected to the story's overall theme, so you can expand your story's middle by developing one or more subplots. 3, don't rush it. You may know where the story is going, but I find that a good drafting technique is just to see how long you can stretch it out for before reaching the story's climax or conclusion. This is a drafting technique, so remember that you might end up cutting some of these scenes if you find out later they don't particularly do anything. 4, every scene has to count. If it's not developing the main plot, it should be developing a subplot. If it's not doing either of those things, it should be revealing important character or world building information. Readers will be able to tell when you're just padding things out, so make sure that every scene has a purpose. And 5, don't worry if the middle of your story feels underdeveloped in draft 1 or maybe even draft 2. You will be able to work on it in subsequent drafts. It is much more important to finish the draft than to get that middle perfect.